Good afternoon and welcome to the Arts Centre at NYU Abu Dhabi. I'm here again with Bill Bragan and we're going to be discussing the second half of the performing arts season this year. And in particular we're going to be looking at the March events because it's a very busy month once again on Sadia Island. So if we just get straight in, and if I could ask you, Barzak Festival starts tonight.
Great. We are first really grateful that and Barzak Festival, which starts tonight, is the third edition of a festival that builds on the interest that we found in the community for artists representing a lot of global music traditions. The name itself comes from the idea of the place in the sea where the salt water and the sweet water meet, but they don't dilute into one another, so the idea is that sort of different properties are there at the same time, and it becomes a really great metaphor for artists who are crossing over cultural traditions, for artists who are mixing very modern styles with deeply rooted traditions, and I think really speaks to the Year of Tolerance as well. So tonight, for example, we've got Sean Kuti and Egypt 80. Sean is the son of Fela Kuti, the father of Afrobeat, or one of the co-creators of Afrobeat, and he literally continued to lead Fela's band, Egypt 80. And that music itself is a mixture of funk and jazz and West African high life, and has become sort of a unique Nigerian sound, but also is really a global sound. It's really swept the world. On the bill with them are Al-Sara and the Nubatones. Al-Sara is Sudanese, but based in Brooklyn, and talks about her music as being East African retro pop. There was a big conversation yesterday that we had with the artists about the difficulty naming things and about how they really want to sort of name the music for themselves. And she, again, is really rooted in folk music, and her point is that folk music is the pop music of its day. And it's also very, very modern in its presentation, and she's got a huge number of fans in the UAE.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a very busy show, and again it kicks off again on Friday night, I believe, with the second part.
Exactly. So we take a night off for the opening of the Sharjah Biennial because I think we look at the entire cultural scene in the UAE as in many ways being one thing, and so then we come back on Friday with another double bill, and that includes Lakfa, which is a sort of an indie super group with two Egyptian artists, Maurice Luca, who's best known in the sort of electro-shabby scene, and Mariam Saleh, and then Palestinian artist Tamar Abu Khazala, and really great, powerful, poetic lyrics. All of their lyrics come from one poet in particular, and very contemporary arrangements. The other half of the bill is a band called Altan Gun, who are a Turkish band from Amsterdam, so they met and formed there, and they take Turkish folk music but mix it in a sort of psychedelic funk arrangement. So again, really kind of mixing the forms, but at the core, they're really coming from Turkish folk music.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this event in particular kind of encapsulates the spirit of the Arts Centre. It's diverse expressionism really at its core.
Yeah, I think when we think about sort of what our role is, it's about making connections. I sort of joke that that the theme for our season should be the hyphen, because we really look at that sort of like Barzak. It's the space in between that brings different people together. And I think in a place that is as diverse as Abu Dhabi, we want to see the Arts Centre as a place that brings together lots of different communities, not just people from the university, but about 3/4 of our audience come from the general public. So it really is a meeting place, and these artists, I think, really capture that spirit.
Absolutely, and I'm sure it'll be a busy and popular event. We saw the band getting ready on stage, and it certainly looks fantastic. Big ensemble, I think there was 17 musicians, so should be an excellent performance for those coming tonight. And for later on in the month, I believe it's on the 15th, is Alana Baraj's An Evening with Her here. I mean, if you could tell us a little bit about her and her work.
Yeah, so Alana is sort of a star in the local community music and theater scene. Mm-hmm. She has been one of the leaders of the Abu Dhabi Choral Group, which is 40 plus years old. It's one of the oldest arts organizations in the city. She has started several of their productions. She was Elle in Legally Blonde. She was Morticia Adams in the Addams Family. In their fall cabaret shows, her songs have often been highlights. And so last year she did a concert in our Blue Hall, which is about 150 seats, and it sold out in like 3 days, and they're really rabid fans. So this year we decided to open it up, and she's going to be in the Red Theater, headlining in there. And the set is going to be classic Broadway songs. She's big into songs from Disney. She's into cabaret. She actually came out of the musical theater program at NYU in New York. So she's also wickedly funny in her banter. So it's a way for us to really spotlight talent who are really based just right here in town. We're not always in, but we really want to celebrate our own. And in this case, we really are celebrating our own because, for full transparency, she also works at the Art Center as one of our producers. And every time she has a chance to take the stage, people are blown away because you have people who are working behind the scenes all the time who are incredibly talented.
Yeah, I mean, and homegrown talent is also going to be on stage again later in the month. Rooftop Rhythms, 7-year anniversary show this month, which is amazing. I mean, 7 years of that event, and that's going to be a huge celebration.
Yeah, Rooftop Rhythms was founded by Dorian Paul Rogers. Originally, it took place in cafes and bars outside the university. When the Art Center opened a few years ago, first when I moved to town, everybody said, you have to go to Rooftop Rhythms. If you want to understand what's happening in the local art scene, that's the place to go. I showed up and I was amazed at how vibrant it was. Primarily spoken word poets. And then at some point, Dorian said, we're having an issue with our venue. Can we do it at the university? And we did the event here. It brought a whole new crowd. People come in from all over the country. A lot of the original performers there work as teachers, and people are coming in from LA and the Western region, and coming down from Dubai and Sharjah. And so it's really galvanized the national scene. And we made it a part of our season about 3 years ago. Because we really do want to cultivate local voices, we started to also open it up to musicians as well. It's still fundamentally poetry and spoken word, and that's where its heart is. But so many people perform at open mics and often do covers, and we wanted Rooftop Rhythms to be a place where songwriters can also share their own original songs without apology. I think that's one of the things when you go to an open mic, people are like, here's a song by Ed Sheeran, here's another cover of this song. Now, sorry, but I'm going to play one of my own. And I think our point is, no, that's exactly what we want. We want people to have a chance to share their own original writing about the things that are important to them to the public. And Rooftop Rhythms, because the poets are really sharing their own words, it's a perfect way to really build that up. And it's a place where we've got probably our largest number of Emirati artists. There's a really strong local contingent of really creative voices who are part of the fabric, who've been part of it for 6-7 years. But we also have people who come on stage for the very first time. One of those, there was an NYU student who last year performed her work publicly for the first time. Last year, earlier this year rather, she performed at the Louvre as part of their anniversary. So it's really become an important platform for artists and voices to emerge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been to a few of the events myself, and they're hugely popular. I mean, they could not be more busy. And I'm always surprised at how diverse they are event to event as well. I mean, it's amazing to almost get your finger on the pulse of local talent, and it brings so many people in this community together.
That, for me, is one of the things that makes it special. It really is a community, and if you want to understand the UAE and Abu Dhabi and the mix of people who live here and what's on people's minds, there's no better way to do it than an open mic night.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all coming up in March, and there's plenty more events as well throughout the rest of the year. I mean, you guys never stop for a moment, but if you want to find out more about the events coming up at NYUAD, and at the Art Centre here, you can go onto their website. And of course, we will keep everyone posted every week on Thursdays in the magazine, the Abu Dhabi World, and we're also every day online on social media and the website. Bill, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure we'll speak again very soon.
Great, thanks so much for coming.